Well, hello there friends, and welcome back to the studio. Today, we're going to embark on a wonderful journey, exploring the secret techniques that professional artists use to bring their artwork to life. Just like a happy little tree adds depth to a landscape, these techniques will add dimension and character to your drawings. We'll uncover the magic behind underpainting, cross-hatching, and so much more. Whether you're just starting out on your artistic path or you've been painting for years, I guarantee you'll discover something new and exciting today. So grab your brushes, your pencils, and let's get started. Now before we start slapping on bright colors, let's talk about underpainting. Imagine building a house. You wouldn't start with the roof, would you? You'd lay a strong foundation first. That's what underpainting is all about. It's like creating a roadmap for your painting. Using a neutral color like a nice warm gray, we're going to roughly block in the shapes and values of our subject. Don't worry about details yet. We're just looking to establish the basic forms and create a sense of depth. Think of it like creating a gentle whisper beneath the surface, a secret language that only the painting knows. This underpainting will peek through our final layers, adding a richness and luminosity that you just can't get any other way. See how that gray starts to recede, pushing the brighter colors forward? That's the magic of underpainting, my friends. It adds a depth and dimension that will make your paintings truly sing. And the best part is there are no mistakes here, only happy accidents. So relax, let loose, and let your brush dance across the canvas. Now let's talk about texture. Just like the soft fur of a cuddly kitten or the rough bark of an old oak tree, texture adds character and interest to our world. And in the world of art, one of the best ways to create texture is through cross-hatching. Now instead of just shading with smooth flat strokes, we're going to use a series of intersecting lines to build up tone and texture. It's like weaving a tapestry of light and shadow. See how these lines, crisscrossing each other, create the illusion of rough bark? And look at how the closer together the lines are, the darker the value becomes. It's like magic. Cross-hatching can be used to create a wide range of effects, from the softest whisper of fur to the rough texture of stone. And the best part is, it's a technique that anyone can master with a little practice. So go ahead, grab your pencil or pen and give it a try. Remember, there are no limits to what you can create. Sometimes, the key to capturing a subject accurately is to focus on what's there. That's right, we're talking about negative space. It's like finding the hidden shapes in the clouds, it just takes a little imagination. Instead of focusing on the object itself, try looking at the shapes around it. That empty space between a flower's petals, the gap between a cup and its handle, that's negative space. By training our eyes to see these negative shapes, we can actually improve our accuracy and proportions. It's like a secret weapon for artists. Next time you're sketching, try squinting your eyes and looking at the spaces between objects. You might be surprised at what you discover. Remember, sometimes the most beautiful things are the ones we don't see at first glance. Now some folks might think using a grid is cheating, but let me tell you, there's no shame in using a little help from our friend, the grid. It's like having a map to guide us through the wilderness of proportions. Here's how it works. We're going to divide both our reference image and our canvas into equal squares. Think of it like a giant game of tic-tac-toe. Now each square becomes a mini canvas, allowing us to break down the image into manageable chunks. Don't be afraid to get up close and personal with your reference. We're looking for the big shapes and angles within each square, like connecting the dots in a connect-the-dots puzzle. The grid method is especially helpful when you're first starting out or when you're working on a large, complex drawing. It takes away the guesswork and allows you to focus on the details. So embrace the grid, my friends. It's not cheating, it's just a little helping hand on your artistic journey. Just like a forest is made up of layers upon layers of trees and foliage, a beautiful painting is built up in layers of color. And that's where glazing comes in. Think of glazing as adding thin veils of color over each other, allowing the layers beneath to peek through. It's like creating a luminous glow from within. We're going to thin out our paint with a little medium, making it nice and transparent. Then we'll apply these thin layers or glazes, gradually building up the color and depth. See how each layer interacts with the one beneath it, creating subtle variations in hue and tone? It's like magic. Glazing takes time and patience, but the results are well worth the effort. So take your time, enjoy the process, and watch as your painting comes to life layer by beautiful layer. Have you ever watched a dancer glide across the stage, their movements so fluid and graceful? Well, gestural drawing is all about capturing that essence of movement, that fleeting moment in time. We're not worried about perfect lines or details here. We're all about capturing the energy and rhythm of our subject. Think of it like dancing with your pencil. Use quick, loose strokes, almost like you're sketching with your whole arm, not just your wrist. Don't be afraid to exaggerate the movement, to make your lines sing. Gestural drawing is a wonderful way to loosen up, to free yourself from the constraints of perfectionism. So, put on some music, let your hair down, and let your pencil dance across the page. Sometimes the most interesting effects come from unexpected places, and that's where sgraffito comes in. It sounds fancy, but it's really quite simple. We're just going to scratch away at the surface to reveal the layers beneath. Think of it like uncovering a hidden treasure. We're going to apply a layer of paint, let it dry, and then use a sharp tool like a palette knife or even a toothpick to scratch away at the surface. See how the color beneath peeks through, creating these beautiful textured lines? It's like magic. Sgraffito is a great way to add detail, texture, and a touch of whimsy to your work. So don't be afraid to experiment, to explore, and to see what happy accidents you can create. Now let's talk about blending. Just like blending smooth, creamy butter into a delicious cake batter, blending helps to create smooth transitions between values, adding a sense of depth and realism to our drawings. And our tools for this task, the humble tortillon or paper stump. These little tools are like magic wands, blending and softening our graphite or charcoal, creating those silky smooth transitions. We're not just smudging here though, we're using a light touch, gently blending and lifting the charcoal or graphite, creating subtle gradations of tone. See how the tortillon softens the edges, creating a smooth, almost photographic effect? It's like watching a dream come to life on paper. So, embrace the power of the tortillon and paper stump, and watch as your drawings take on a whole new level of depth and realism. Just like a warm fire on a cold winter's day, warm and cool colors work together to create harmony and balance in a painting. They're like two sides of the same coin, each enhancing the beauty of the other. Warm colors, like reds, oranges, and yellows, tend to advance towards the viewer, while cool colors like blues, greens, and purples recede into the background. By placing warm and cool colors next to each other, we can create contrast and depth. See how the warm orange of this flower pops against the cool blue background? It's like magic. Don't be afraid to experiment with different color combinations. Remember, there are no mistakes, only opportunities for happy accidents. Just like a good story needs conflict and resolution, a good painting needs a sense of movement and visual interest. And that's where the push and pull technique comes in. It's all about creating a dynamic interplay between different elements in your composition, using contrast to guide the viewer's eye through the painting. This could be a contrast of light and shadow, of warm and cool colors, or even of textures. The key is to create a sense of balance and harmony, while still keeping things interesting. Think of it like a visual dance, guiding the viewer's gaze across the canvas, leading them on a journey of discovery. Remember, a good painting is like a good conversation. It should be engaging, stimulating, and leave you wanting more. Well, that's it for today, my friends. I hope you've enjoyed this little journey into the world of professional art techniques. Remember, these are just a few tools to add to your artistic toolbox. The most important thing is to have fun, to experiment, and to never be afraid to make mistakes. After all, that's how we learn and grow. Now go out there and create some happy little masterpieces. And don't forget to share your creations with us in the comments below. Until next time, happy painting!